Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, President and founder of Agile, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Stand-Up. So without any further ado, let's get started. For those of you who know me well, you know I'm a fan of music. And one song that, once you hear it, it'll never get out of your head, is The Sound of Silence. Now, the original was by Simon and Garfunkel. The most modern remake of it was by Disturbed. And, of course, people played off of that. And there's many different remakes of it. But I thought it'd be good to talk about, for at least a few moments, the importance of silence and the concept that someone recently brought up regarding a silent retrospective. Now, this was interesting. This concept came up, and I'm trying to remember who it was. It was on a meetup board, believe it or not. I was reading this, and it may have referred to an article, but I honestly don't remember. So if it's your article, please ping me and let me know. But it was talking about the concept of a silent retrospective. And let me give you a little backstory. So here's how it came about. This gentleman was complaining that on his agile teams, that many people had very loud voices and that some people were quiet, if not completely silent, and that he felt like the people who are boisterous were getting their ideas across and really trying to push for things or advocate things that they wanted, while the people who were the silent majority, this is interesting, were not having their voices heard because many people on a team were more introvert and not comfortable speaking up and felt like if they spoke up in front of other people that there could be consequences. And I could go on with this, but it was just really, really interesting to see the difference between how the boisterous people, capitalized from the retrospective and how the quiet people didn't. And of course, many of the solutions that you see online, play this interactive game, do this, do that, it requires heavy participation in many cases or mandatory participation from every participant. And those types of games in a situation really weren't carved out to be exactly what this individual or organization needed. So the question then becomes, how do we, is there such a thing as a silent retrospective? If so, how do we apply it? And I kept thinking about the beauty of the song, The Sound of Silence. And I think the beauty of it is just that it captures you emotionally and spiritually because it's such a quiet song that when performed correctly, it hooks you in and draws you in. So I thought to myself, could you apply that same type of principle to a retrospective? And I was happy to discover that you could. So in order to do this, it's pretty easy, and you can do it using Mural or Miro. And the way it works is you set things up, and I'm going to hypothetically say Zoom is my tool. I'm sure you can do the same thing in Teams and others. But here's how it works: everyone is required to be muted. Everyone is required to have their camera on. This is interesting. So you're required to have your camera on, but you're required to be muted. No sound. No one's allowed to speak. And the way it works is you use different color sticky notes inside of the tool to present a problem or to present something that you want to have as a discussion point. And I think the beauty is that with there being no opportunity for anyone to speak, once you have the problem identified, you can surround it with actions. And you can have 3 to 5 actions per sticky note, I'm guessing, about things that you discovered. You can also have an opportunity to explore deeper. And you can use a different color sticky note for exploration. And I think that if you have problems, exploratory, and action cues, that this would give everyone a chance to feel comfortable posting, their emotional thoughts or where they are. And I think what's super cool about that is the fact that, not only do the silent people get a chance to speak, but it gives people a chance to see each other's emotionality without hearing the loud voices. And it gives the people a chance to actively participate and feel like they're part of a team without being run over or steamrolled. And I think that if you surround the topics that you want to discuss with exploratory cues or action items that you can do, and you can piggyback them. You could say, oh, well, let's explore this. And you could say, action, let's have this meeting to figure it out, or let's do this to get there. I think that this is another good way to get this done. And of course, if you know me, you know I'm a big fan of coming up with with snarky names for things. So my name for this is going to be Watch Your P's and Q's. And the Q's are questions, and the P's are problems, explore, and action. So interesting. So if you watch your P's and Q's, it's going to help you really have strong retrospectives, especially with teams that are quiet. Now, will this work for everybody? Likely not. But I think in a way it might be good to enjoy the silence. I think that was Depeche Mode. And listen to the sound of silence because, we've all heard the quote that silence is deafening. And I think that when you have active silence for a short amount of time, it could cause things to be healthy. Now, would I do this every single sprint? Absolutely not. But could you do this to give people a clear expectation and a voice? Absolutely. And, the thing is, of course, the facilitator may have to have a few words, but the goal is that when you do this, that you with the silence, you have a chance of reducing duplication. You have a chance of joining in a conversation even when you didn't think you could be a part of a conversation. And you'll notice that some things arise that could inspire other things to come forth. So you'll find a lot of piggybacking this way, which is super cool. I think the key is to set a timer. Make sure you're only doing it for a short amount of time, right? Because you don't want to make it too long, or people just be like, no one wants to sit for an hour in silence, right? But as soon as you identify things that are on the wall, I'd say within the first 10 minutes, you can end up with some problems. And then you can pause and say, okay, let's talk about solutions, or let's talk about exploration or actions. And let's dig in. And I think that, the 20 minutes that you have to do that is going to be helpful. And then you can even have people follow up and dot vote on what they think they should do next, right? So it's just people can say, oh, I really like this action, or oh, I think this is out of line, right? And I think that this is in line with the whole concept of capitalizing on the retrospective and figuring out how to set meaningful, actionable goals, how to capture the right problems, and how to give everyone an equal voice. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, if you have a topic you want us to cover, reach out to us at AgileDad. Learn more at agiledad.com. We'd love to hear your topics. And until then, mind your P's and Q's and stay healthy, stay agile, and stay well, my friends. Until next time, do take care.